Okay, friend, where have you been? You have been from the origins of human design, the intros of the centers, the pressure functions, the awareness centers, and now we're moving into the motor centers. And what I want you to understand here as well is that the root center and the solar plex have both been covered. The root center is covered in the pressure, and the solar plex is covered in the awareness. So the root center is a pressure, but it is also a motor because it provides fuel. The solar plex is an awareness center, but it is also a motor because there is a wave function. So if you have missed these two, I would recommend going back and checking them out if you require that. So the four motors, so the body houses the motor functions. Do you notice that the mind is a pressure to be aware only? So the adrenalized power to build the Maya and the willpower to move through life with emotional intelligence, all, okay? It's this manifestation is not a mental process. Manifestation is a physical body process for motors to interact with the desire and move it to manifestation. The mental process is just for communication only. The pressure to communicate, the pressure to conceptualize, the pressure to, share your experiences, share your theories, share your information. But it isn't about the manifestation piece. It's from one of these motors attaching or being connected to the throat. Now, I'm not saying that if you don't have the throat defined, if you don't have a motor connected, that you can't manifest. That's not what I'm saying. We are all in this together. So there's going to be interactions, there's going to be people that come into your life that bring that manifestation process to them, and then you get to take advantage of it. So the motors, we're going to start here with the heart, and then we are going to then move over to the sacral center. And like I said, the root center and the emotional solar plex, they have been covered already in the other two modules. So the heart center, this is the ego, it's the willpower, it's the material world. This is all about the material world. All too often in all spiritual teachings, they just hammer on the ego. And really what it is when they're talking about the ego, they're actually, having a conversation about the conditioning, the not self, the shadow aspect, the distractions. And I can hammer in on that for sure. But the ego actually plays a part because we are on this material plane. You are in a bubble of biology. You are a piece of material. You are, a part of this fabric of life. And the neutrino ocean is also, a material existence. It has mass. There is materialistic aspects throughout our entire universe. So the ego is not a bad thing. The ego allows us to have willpower, to commit, to be on this material plane. So, are you still trying to prove yourself to others? That you have great willpower, courage, or control? Or do you find that you often compare yourself to others and always try to prove yourself? So the willpower, when it is undefined, can be very distorted. And we're going to really hammer in on that here. The biological correspondence. Do you see how, it's quite a small function. The head center only has 3 gates in it. The heart has 4. But the biological correspondence here is the thymus gland, it's the gallbladder, it is the heart muscle, and it's the stomach. So the thymus gland, the gallbladder, to have the gall to do something, to dare to do something. The heart muscle here is about like controlling that that pulse on, pulse off. The stomach, what are you feeding yourself? What are you feeding in this material world? And I love that all of that is so important to us. You know, the thymus gland holds the T cells. The T cells are what allow us to stay safe. They're like our little warriors, you know, within our body. And, you know, in order for us to be on this mystical path and this material path, we need to have the heart center. Why do I say that? Well, the mystical path, which you're going to learn this throughout, again, you're going to get so much information in this class that it's going to be amazing. But so the mystical way is from the 1949, 3740. Then it pops over to the 51 and the 25, then the 10 and the 20. This is the mystical way where we blend, you know, ceremony and tribal communities with the individual, you know, gull and daring to step out into our own individuated and be initiated into our own individuated autonomy so that we can come to awareness. So this is, you know, this is about initiation. This is competition, you know, and the 5125, the initiation is the initiation to that individuation. Okay, so let's digress here because I get into that and the material way. So what is the material way? The material way is the 54, 32, 44, 26, and then the 21, 45. So how do we transform and then transmit on this material plane and educate and provide for the tribe on the material plane? Now the mystical way begins tribally, but then all of a sudden takes this jaunt off into, you know, the individuated initiation. So if it's undefined, totally undefined, are you still trying to prove yourself? Always trying to prove who you are, what you do, you know, trying to be more successful, more sexy, more smart, overcompensating and making promises. And, you know, depending on what this looks like, there can be an overinflated valuation here or a totally underinflated valuation in an undefined center. So the not self-talk, I better do this because if I don't, I won't be worthy. I have to be in control. I have to be brave. I have to pump myself up so I feel worthy and good about myself, and then others will see my value. I have to be loyal so that others will see how valuable I am and so that I can prove to myself how valuable I am. And well, if I just tell it like this and make this promise, then they'll see how wonderful I am. I'm not a good wife, lover, friend unless I prove it. Proving oneself is such a, it's a disease on this planet. And, you know, I shared in the last module of the awareness centers where, you know, I have a client who, they have it all. They have family, they have a beautiful home, a thriving business, they have every single toy that the collective has told them that they need to have in order to have fun, and they're both miserable. They hate it. They hate their lives. They totally hate their lives. And trying to prove who they are is the core of the disconnect. Because the value that they believe other people are going to see in them comes out of an outside valuation. The more stuff I have, the more valuable I am. So when it's totally open, not knowing what is worthy. And that's an interesting aspect as well. So not knowing the worthiness in oneself in any way, shape, or form. Okay, 65% of the population has this undefined. Take that in for a minute. 65% has this undefined. Almost the same as the head center percentage. We have a vast majority of people that have distorted, not on their own fault. This is not anybody's fault, right? This becomes a collective, herd mentality. That the not self strategy is not able to see your own worthiness consistently. So you feel deeply worthless and make promises to prove that you're good, trustworthy, better, smarter, attractive, or enough, and you overcompensate. Trying to collect materialism to prove your worth, to prove your value, and to overcompensate with promises, so that other people will go, hey, they're worthy of my love, they're worthy of, being a part of the tribe, they're worthy of the initiation, whatever that is. But the not-self decisions, I'm going to take this class to prove I'm smart. I'm going to have a complete makeover to show I'm attractive to my potential mate. So it's always about, improvement, but improvement of self in a way that is trying to prove something to others versus taking that improvement and allowing for the initiation into your own mystical path. So the true self, I'm going to do my best, but I can't promise. I have nothing to prove. I see things clearly when feeling worthy. The wisdom can see what's worthy, be able to see self-worth in others, and can make a good assessment of other people's egos, recognizing who can make and keep promises. So what happens is the effect of the defined on the undefined. Others feel worthless or competitive. Humility is good for defined ego beings. So, I had this defined, and so does my husband. On the material plane, we've done well. We have in our companion chart, something again that you're going to learn. In our companion chart, we have the channel of discovery, where it's about succeeding where other people fail, or failing where other people succeed. And on the material plane, with both of us having the ego defined in very interesting ways, we are able to succeed where other people fail. And then other people, when they are around us and they have an undefined ego center, there's this worth that comes up in them. They don't feel worthy. Or a lot of times what happens is they want to take advantage of our wealth and our money. And now I'm saying that very, I don't know how to put this in a way that doesn't sound egotistical, because it's not about ego. We've worked to get to where we are, and we've done it mostly through pleasure. And other people feel like we owe them because we're wealthy. I don't know if that makes any sense to you or not. And they would like to take advantage of our wealth and, utilize us in unhealthy ways. And this is something that my husband and I have recognized deeply in our 28 years of experiencing life together. So, we show up and people feel competitive. People feel like they, are worthless. And I'm not saying everybody, don't get me wrong, but there's this sense that, they can't measure up. And my husband and I don't really, materially, we have a beautiful property. We are cattle ranchers, so, slopping in the pig or the cow poop is something that we do. We get dirty, we get our hands dirty. We don't dress in fancy clothes. we're not driving vehicles that, are outrageously priced. We live a comfortable life, and we kind of do it on our own terms. And other people feel very competitive when it comes to that. So that is something that when you have it defined, recognize that sometimes people will feel worthless or competitive around you and want what you have because they feel like what you have, they need to have in order to prove themselves. I hope that makes sense. So, the natural and healthy state, consistent access to willpower, a natural sense of self-esteem and self-worth, a fixed way of dealing with the material plane in terms of deals, bargains, and promises, in control of your own life and your resources, consistent access to willpower, a sense of self-esteem and self-worth, and, having a healthy balance between work and rest. The natural and healthy state of the undefined ego, content with their own worth, able to work with people without making promises, and becomes involved in work through strategy and authority instead of trying to make promises, overcommit. That's what's really important here. And then unhealthy state, a pumped up ego and expecting everyone around them to be like them, puts pressure on others to prove themselves and keep promises, and being too forceful. I will say that this has been a downfall of my defined ego center. And, it also comes to I have a defined root center. So, forcefully putting pressure on people is what I used to do when I managed people. And, I wasn't rude about it, any of that, but there was this force that I come with when I walk into a room. And some people can, filter that. Other people cannot filter that. So the undefined ego, low feeling of self-esteem and self-worth, difficulty in recognizing their own value and asking, unable to keep promises, and overcompensates. All right. So take a look at this for yourself, and, please do the application of information. Apply this in your life. See how it works. How is the ego center? How is the willpower showing up in your life? So the sacral center sits here. It's our vital energy and our sexuality. And what the sacral center actually does is it creates a type. And it creates the builder type, the express and classic builder in the business language, or the generator / manifesting generator in the human design language. So it actually, if this is defined in your body graph, you are either a generator, a manifesting generator, or a builder. This is really what's building the Maya. This is creating the Maya. This is the energy behind, the energy resource behind building this particular Maya. So this is vital energy. It's about respondability. Now, if you don't understand that word, just put it in your mind, because when we are sacral beings, if you are someone who has this defined, you are designed to respond. Period. Not initiate, not chase after anything. You are designed to respond to life. Who is asking you for your energy? And we're going to really hone in on that when we talk about type, strategy, and authority. It's about availability, it's about sexuality, and it's about fertility. Because here lies the ovaries, the testes. This is the womb. This is really, what's housing our creative energy on this planet. And if you have available energy, your sacral center will respond accordingly. If you do not have available energy and you're pushing yourself with it defined, responding is going to most likely look a lot like reactivity. So there's going to be, it's like a battery. The sacral center is like this battery, this storehouse of energy. And it can be used for generating, or it can be used for degenerative energy. So very important. And again, we will talk about that as we walk through type, strategy, and authority. So if it's undefined, if it's not in your body graph, you are either a manifester, a projector or a reflector. So are you the last one to realize when enough is enough? Do you power through fatigue to get things done, hoping for that second wind? So not knowing when enough is enough, do you stop when you need rest, and honoring that inconsistent energy? So all too often, the projectors, the reflectors, and manifestors on this planet, they are absolutely overworked, totally overworked, because they feel like they need to push through. So let's keep working. We really need to get this done. We need to say yes to this. Otherwise, we might miss out on something. You know, I can keep going. Let me just get a cup of coffee. We can do that. No problem. We're not tired yet. We don't have to take a nap or lay down. There's too much to do. Let's take care of that for them. I have to do it myself. Life is juicy. Who wants to say no? Is there boundaries? No boundaries. Now, I don't even really like this word boundaries, because it's really all about decision-making strategy. So if we're putting up protection, if we're putting up boundaries, if we're putting up walls, then we're really buying into the agenda of the not-self. I want you to only operate through strategy and authority and making decisions based off of what's correct for you. But the sacral center, 70% of the population have this defined. But first, let's just say this. So if there's no gates defined, not knowing what to use your energy for, and the only way to know this, the only way to discern how to take advantage of this sacral energy is through invitation, is through correct initiation, period. It isn't through the mental plane at all. So 70% approximately have this center defined. And that's a large amount of people. And 70% have that defined, and the sacral center, I'm gonna give you guys an image when I hone in on the definition of these centers, and we really talk about the gates and all of that. But this actually creates a vortex. There's actually a vortexual energy easily, because it's building the Maya. It looks very seductive. But the not-self strategy doesn't know when enough's enough. Food, sex, work, TV, play becomes very overzealous, over-enthusiastic, and, will push through that second wind, and it'll keep working. So the not-self decision, I'll keep cleaning the garage even though it's relaxing or has gone to dinner. And like I said in the first slide, is that second wind. And I really feel like a projector or a manifestor or a reflector coined that term, waiting for that second wind to keep pushing through. So the true self will stop before they get tired and have a sense of when enough's enough, because the strategy and authority will tell you. The strategy and authority will let you know when enough is enough. The wisdom here knows when enough is enough and can guide others to use their energy efficiently. That is so important. Anyone with an undefined sacral center, that 30% of the population that is here to, guide other people to use that energy efficiently. All too often, I see generators and manifesting generators that are totally using their energy degeneratively, because there has been nobody guiding them on how to efficiently use it. And then the people that are designed to guide are out there slaving away and totally, their bodies are totally, being destroyed and destructive. And so same for the generators and the manifesting generators. If we're not using our energy properly, the physical body will break down. We are designed to use this battery. It's kind of like a cell phone or laptop. We're designed to use up that battery life and then plug it in and regenerate, and then use up that battery life and plug it in and regenerate. We're designed to do that, and our physical bodies want to do that, but the conditioned mind will, play games here for both sides. The guides will overwork, and those that are here to work will, try to give all the work to someone else. So the effect of the defined on the undefined, so there's a pressure to keeping on and not stop when tired. So again, take this word pressure with a grain of salt, because it's not really a pressure. It's more so a it's just the energy's flowing through, and just let it flow through. So if you have a bunch of people around you and their energy field, just allow for that sacral energy to flow through you. Don't be the one taking on all the work if you're not designed to take on all the work. And again, we're going to talk about that when we get into career, when we get into business, so that you can see exactly how this all plays out. All right, so natural and healthy state defines sacral, enjoys doing or being busy doing what they love, responds to the sacral voice, and the sacral voice really is grunty. It's guttural. It's does that a lot. Does I'm constantly and when that voice reverberates throughout my body, there is this energy that's coming right down from that sacral center, and it moves all the way through, up my esophagus, and right up into my neck and through my head. And that ability for that sacral center to respond, provides such a beautiful connection to my higher self. And I'm right now, I'm going to share a story with you. So I had a client, and for the first about 35 minutes of the session, the whole conversation, she was a manifesting generator, and the whole conversation was him, blaming everything on her husband. Him. And if you've done any work with me, you'll know that I don't buy into the not-self agenda. It makes no sense to do that. I'm here to introduce you to your frequency and to get you to enjoy your life through your frequency. So the not-self agenda was push, trying so desperately for 35 minutes to convince me of its agenda. And I didn't buy it. And I wasn't going to buy it. And, I kept provoking my client. I kept, moving that client to recognize what was going on. And then all of a sudden, I asked a very, very profound question. And the sacral went, And it was so loud and so deep. Like in that split-second moment, my client completely got out of her head, dropped into her body, and the remainder of the session, we went longer than an hour just because I saw the value in doing that. The rest of the session took her to a whole new level of awareness, and just by that one little sacral response. It's a very powerful response, and it will allow you to be connected to your to the truth of who you are. So Defined uses healthy ways to work off that sacral energy, is patient and at peace with waiting, and is happy and satisfied with the work that they do. That's so important. You're here to work. You're here to be a builder. You're here to be creative. You're here to respond. I'll use my energy. I don't have available energy. I will not use my energy. And listen to that so that you can be satisfied and do the work that is healthy for you and for everybody on this planet. The undefined sacral, relax. You get to do what you love as well, but you get to relax into that. You're not doing, you're actually being what you love. And observes and studies the mysteries of life, manages their inconsistent energy through strategy and authority, works more as a specialist for short-term periods and is guiding others in that work, and knows when to remove themselves from the sacral energy. This is so important. So it's important to comprehend that 70% of the population have that defined, right? So with that 70% of the population, that vortex is very seductive. So the unhealthy state, and I want to share a story here as well, the unhealthy state of that defined sacral initiates rather than responds. And this is really, this initiation, again, I'm going to really talk about this when we talk in the type, strategy, and authority, so you can comprehend what initiation looks like. So does not enjoy the work that they do, depletes their sacral energy, feels tired, gets stuck, and quits, and is, filled with frustration. So the undefined sacral works to a point of exhaustion, leading to illness, becomes a sex addict, is unreliable, or unable to pull away from the juiciness of the life force, believes they are ill when they don't have enough energy, and is very overzealous. Now, something that's so interesting here, when I first, we're talking like 7.5 years ago now, when I first entered into human design, I started doing just mini sessions and introducing human design to my community, and I was doing that at workshops, at trade shows. And what was so fun is that at the end of the trade show, I was tired. I had completely used up my sacral energy. I knew it. I was going home, period. And it was so funny because the people that were projectors, that were manifestors and reflectors, oh my God, they turned on the music and they began to dance at the end of the whole thing. They had been soaking in that sacral energy. And then, conversations with these people, conversations with them as clients and as friends, they get an energy hangover and they are exhausted, and they actually need to take 2 or 3 days after an event like that to decompress. So now that they understand how this all works, it's a totally different situation, because now that they can recognize, they can use that sacral energy and take advantage of it when it's correct, but they have to listen to their own strategy and authority and remove themselves from that energy so that they don't get that hangover. Okay, friend, now we are finally done. The motors module. And we are now going to move on to the G center and the identity and direction. So again, I would like you to play around, apply this information, see how this sacral energy shows up in your life. Are you defined here? And are you using it correctly? Are you responding or are you initiating? Are you undefined here? And are you guiding or are you overworking yourself? So it's just about being that observer, checking it out, seeing where you're at, and not coming, don't be judgmental. That's not what this is about. This isn't about being judgmental. This is just about you being able to see it, recognize it, and be able to, move through strategy and authority when it's correct for you. Okay, thank you.